Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter PobZombie. Huge thanks to PobZombie and the rest of my Patreon supporters. PobZombie reached out asking for an artifact deck led by Mishra, Tamer of Fawa, with a budget of $300, and I was more than happy to help. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Mishra, Tamer of Fawa is a 5-mana 4/4 legendary human artificer who gives all permanents we control ward sacrifice a permanent. He also makes it so that each artifact card in our graveyard has Unearth. Unearth is a special effect that allows us to return something from the graveyard to the battlefield, but if it would leave the battlefield or at the beginning of the next end step, we exile it. Also, we can only unearth as a sorcery. So we can bring artifacts back from our graveyard, but only for one turn. And we can't just sacrifice that artifact over and over again. But sometimes, one turn is all you need. But we'll need more than graveyard shenanigans and artifact combos to build a functional commander deck. Good thing we have our handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. As I'm sure you've heard by now, this channel is sponsored by Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard was made famous by their Boulder, which now come in these lovely two-tone boxes, allowing you to show your guild loyalty. Unless you're a filthy Tamer player who's simply disguising their deck, pretending to be the lawful and righteous Azorius. Find out if your local game store carries the new Ultimate Guard Synergy Boulders, or click on the link down below to order yourself one from Amazon. One more thing before we get started. I've been streaming Final Fantasy XIV over on my other channel, Musings by Danon. If you want to pop in and ask some questions, chat about Commander, or just hang out, you're more than welcome to. For right now, I'm streaming on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Treasure Vault, Blood Crypt, Luxury Suite, Haunted Ridge, Dragon Skull Summit, Sulphurous Mire, Geothermal Bog, Smoldering Marsh, Tainted Peak, Sulphurous Springs, Blightstep Pathway, Rakdos Cranarium, Bajuka Bog, Myriad Landscape, 10 Swamps, and 10 mountains make up the land base for this deck. Mishra Excavation Prodigy, Slowbad Iron Golem, Solemn Simulacrum, Burnished Heart, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Indulgence, Rakdos Signet, Mind Stone, Felwar Stone, Commander's Sphere, Hedron Archive, Chromatic Lantern, Krark Clan Ironworks, Ashnod's Altar, and Basalt Monolith make up our mana ramp package. What? I said earlier that we had combos. Collector's Vault, Reckless Handling, Goblin Engineer, Trash for Treasure, Faithless Looting, Big Score, Unexpected Windfall, Palantir of Orthanc, Bolus's Citadel, Sensei's Divining Top, Mystic Forge, Entomb, Hostile Negotiations, Jeska's Will, Unmarked Grave, Ichor Wellspring, Visions of Phyrexia, and Wheel of Misfortune help us to dig through our deck and fill up our graveyard. Noxious Gearhulk, Meteor Golem, Chaos Warp, Terminate, Bedevil, Abrade, Rakdos Charm, Feed the Swarm, Go for the Throat, Vandal Blast, and Leyline of the Void help us to keep our opponents in line. Blasphemous Act, Toxic Deluge, and Phyrexian Scriptures help us to reset the board as needed. Duretti Ingenious Iconoclast, Combustible Gear Hulk, Sculpting Steel, Wormcoil Engine, Scrap Trawler, Mirror Retriever, Foundry Inspector, Mirrorworks, Karn the Great Creator, Mesmeric Orb, Mirkwood Bats, Reckless Fireweaver, and Blightsteel Colossus make up the core of our deck. Supporting our plan, we've got Scrap Mastery and Aetherflux Reservoir. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 52 mana sources split between 36 lands and 16 pieces of ramp. A little heavy, but some of our cards are a bit expensive, so it's fine. 18 pieces of card advantage, 12 pieces of interaction, 3 board wipes, 3 pieces of graveyard hate in Leyline of the Void, Rakdos Charm, and Bojuka Bog, 1 Sudden I Win card in Aetherflux Reservoir. But Danon, we're not a Storm deck. How can Aetherflux Reservoir be our Sudden I Win card? Well, it's because we have a couple of infinite combos in our deck. If you're a fan of artifact decks, I'm sure you've already spotted them, but allow me to break a couple of them down for the rest of the audience. Bolus's Citadel, or any card that lets us cast from the top of our library, along with Sensei's Divining Top, will gain us enough life through Aetherflux Reservoir to kill the table. There's also the combo of Sculpting Steel, Scrap Trawler, Foundry Inspector, and either of our sacrifice outlets. Sculpting Steel enters as a copy of Foundry Inspector or any other artifact. We then sacrifice Sculpting Steel to the sacrifice outlet. Scrap Trawler triggers, returning Sculpting Steel to our hand, rinse and repeat. Of course, this also works with Ashnod's Altar, Mirror Retriever, and Mirrorworks. Now, this deck relies on our graveyard a bit, so we'll need a way to fill it up quickly. My favorite way is Basalt Monolith combined with Mesmeric Orb. I didn't want to be too mean with this deck, so even though I included Vandal Blast, I did not include Mycosynth Lattice. See? I'm totally nice! Do you have a Mishra, Tamer of Fawa deck? What's your secret deck tech? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. There's a new $5 player tier. Joining this tier will give you access to our private Discord, as well as the power to vote on upcoming content. I wish I could make every video that gets suggested to me down in the comments, but there's just never enough time. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Josh, Sean, Pob Zombie, Mark, Alex, Borgie, Jake, Exiled Rogue, Manassas, Noswin, Pedro, Aranor, Tom, Echo Fox, and Midge. You guys are awesome. I post Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.